That's it. No more. I've had enough. I am moving to Canada. Hey there, today I have an unboxing video, and in this video I'm going to open up 2 orders of comic books that I placed from sellers in Canada. Now, I'm not exactly moving myself physically to Canada, but I might be moving some of my comic book purchasing to Canada. So, kind of accurate, maybe a little bit of a reach there, but there are times where I have to get a little creative with where I pick up my comic books, particularly if I'm trying to hunt a specific book down, looking for good deals. And I think really for me, it boils down to the shipping. There's certainly an increased, let's just say, like sensitivity around shipping across the border now. Tariffs, no tariffs. Will the shipment be stopped by customs depending on the value of the contents? How will the contents be declared? It's always something that I'm just a little bit nervous about. And then on top of that, the additional cost to ship books from Canada to me here in California. So it is something I have to factor in when I'm making my purchasing decisions. I try to find places where I can get free shipping, but it's just not the case when you're shipping internationally. So I take all of this into consideration. And if you stay to the end, I'll show you what I paid for these books, including the additional cost to ship, where I distribute the shipping cost across all of the books in the order so that I can see what is my true cost to acquire each book. Let's get going. Okay, here are the 2 shipments that I received from Canada. One is from a seller on Atomic Avenue, K Zels from Canada, and then Cosmic Comics from Canada as well. And then, of course, we have the special sticker, but it's in French Canadian, so I don't really understand it. And I got to stop messing around. I'm going to get these opened up. All right, both shipments were very well packed, so no issues there. Lots of really good bubble wrap, sturdy cardboard, and so forth. I'm going to open up the Atomic Avenue shipment first. The seller is K Zels. I've never ordered from them before. This is always kind of fun because I order these books sight unseen. There are no scans of the books on Atomic Avenue, and you don't know what you're going to get. And I end up trying to order multiple times from the same seller so that I can figure out the expected condition of the books, so I can kind of narrow down the playing field to find the better sellers on Atomic Avenue. And let me show you what I picked up. The first book is She-Hulk number 6. We have a Greg Horn cover here featuring She-Hulk and Star Fox. This issue became popular around the time that Eternals was coming out because of the end credits scene. And then also as this was related to the She-Hulk live action show. Here's one that I love, Batman, The Long Halloween #1. I have a number of different limited series and special series or short runs of books that I say I would love to get graded and love to have in a 9.8. And of course, this is one of those. However, I can already tell that there is this crease all the way up and down, essentially a square bound book, and almost like it was just like color rub or wear and tear all the way up and down. So I wouldn't personally grade this book near mint. I'll have to see if there's any forgiveness on that from CGC, but I doubt it. Something like that goes like top to bottom on the book, I usually start my own grading at around a 9.0, so that's disappointing. But again, part of this is the experimentation of buying from a new seller and learning about how they grade so that I can better estimate my future purchases. So this is all good. This is a learning experience. Another Batman, The Long Halloween. This is issue number 6. This is the St. Patrick's Day issue. This one is super tough to get in high grade, and it is not square bound like issue 1 is. And this looks to be a strong copy. It's just super tough here with the black and green ink on the cover. It is cardstock, but this looks to be in a little bit better shape. So I'm hopeful that that one turns out to be a 9.8 candidate. Next is Detective Comics number 585. This is the first appearance of Ratcatcher. It was another book that I remember from the, I would say maybe just the COVID, post-COVID MCU, DCU speculation game This book was on a number of hot lists, and I just waited for the price to come down. It definitely has a stacking crease. I don't see many spine ticks, maybe a couple right in here. So this is probably, around a 9092 type of condition for Detective 585. Then we have He-Man Masters of the Universe #1, and I just got this book graded in a 9.8 and was kind of on the hunt for it and was adding it to different watch lists, and I saw it available on Atomic Avenue and figured I would take a chance on it in near mint. I do see one significant defect here that breaks color, and if I can get the light right in there, you can also see the crease kind of extends up through He-Man's battle axe. A couple of other minor ticks here. I think, again, this is probably in a 992 range. Definitely needs some sort of press, but I think for what I paid for it, it's pretty fair in terms of the condition versus the cost. And then the last book I picked up from this seller is Sheena, Queen of the Jungle 3D. This is a Dave Stevens cover. I've mentioned this in the past too. This one is a little bit tricky to track down just because the title. It's either Sheena, Jerry Iger's Sheena, and in many cases it's like Blackthorn 3D. It's the publisher is Blackthorn, so it's sometimes referred to as Blackthorn 3D. There's a number of different ways to do it. I technically classify this as Blackthorn 3D series #1, which you don't see the word series on here, but that's what I do to properly kind of normalize this book across all of the different sources that I track. Just taking a quick look at the condition, I do see some creasing to the spine here. There's 3 right there. You can kind of see the 3 indentations on the spine, but not too bad. I don't see anything that really breaks color. A little bit on the corner right in there, just the smallest of color breaks, but this looks to be a really nice copy. So kind of a mixed bag. I think you'll see that with Atomic Avenue, very similar to Mile High Comics, where the grading is more of a range and not really a precise type of grade or like an assigned grade point. So you kind of take the good and the bad there. Definitely that Long Halloween #1 is not near mint, but the rest maybe have a good shot. Now, the next shipment is from Cosmic Comics, and it's my first time ordering from them, and they're what I would say more of a typical straightforward Shopify-based store. I picked up 3 books from Cosmic Comics, and the first book is Zatanna, Bring Down the House, #4, and this is the Joshua Swaby Sway variant cover. And I will show you what I paid for these books. I think I overpaid a little bit for this one, as I was able to find this even today for less than what I paid. But I will say that I love the rigid bag that they used, the oversized backing board to keep, I mean, you can see the border around the book. That's really awesome. So really like the way that they packed everything up. Another Joshua Swaby variant. This is Immortal X-Men #15. I really like this one, featuring Emma Frost, the White Queen. It is a retailer incentive, and just kind of scanning the condition here, looks to be a really nice copy. I'll have to take it out of the bag and board to inspect it further, but I definitely say it's a 9.8 candidate. I don't see any issues along the spine. Corners are sharp, so it would be something that I would potentially send in with a pre-screen. And then the last book is the big book that I was chasing that was sold out in many places. It also has a regular open order variant, and I'm just a little bit kind of on the fence between whether or not I really like that in terms of collecting ratios when you have an open order cover and then a 1 in 100 that just removes the trade. It definitely feels lazy, but sometimes you just fall in love with a book and you want that full art version. Hope to get it pre-screened in a 9.8, and then it looks nice without the trade in the slab where the label kind of becomes the trade. Let me show you the book. It's Magic #2, the 1 in 100 Pablo Villalobos full art variant. Now that I have the book in hand, it really is gorgeous. And just nervously checking the condition for any issues. Little bit of spine splitting at the top. And again, if everything else is okay, then this is a book that I would definitely send in to a 9.8 pre-screen, just because I don't want to be overly critical. And a book like this, as much as I paid, I'll definitely pay the pre-screen. And if it gets rejected, I'm still happy to keep it raw. But looks great to me. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but really awesome 3 books in terms of the condition. I hope they all turn out to be 9.8 candidates, and if they are, they will go into my next 9.8 pre-screen. And then also really strong set of books. I think if I didn't include the Long Halloween issue 1, overall that Atomic Avenue order would be really nice. However, as I mentioned, I had to pay a lot more for shipping. So now I want to show you the numbers, show you the details of what I paid for the books, just to see if it makes sense to order internationally, and for adding on that additional expense, is it worth your while? All right, here are the 2 orders that I placed with Canadian sellers. The first one is K Zales on Atomic Avenue. I was invoiced $110.15 for the 6 comics I picked up. And then from Cosmic Comics Canada, $204.79 on the invoice there, and that's in USD already converted. I did have to pay tax and shipping from Cosmic Comics and only shipping from Atomic Avenue, but shipping was super expensive, $29.15 for 6 comics. $14.26 from Cosmic Comics, which is much more reasonable, but then you do have the additional tax that was added on. Now, going to the Atomic Avenue order, the reason that I was willing to pay that much for shipping is I thought I was getting pretty good deals with some of the books that I picked up. $22 for Batman the Long Halloween #1. I had been buying that book at auction, targeting around $40, $45 for that book in near mint condition. It didn't grade out as I would have hoped, and that's kind of a side issue that, again, I will track and give this seller kind of an average grade. I may even send them a photo and say this book doesn't really seem near mint to me, and see what they want to do as far as potentially offering to return the book. I usually just keep it and move on. Batman the Long Halloween #6 for $9. That book looks super sharp and crisp. Detective 585 for $6.50. So you can kind of see that it was a balance of the book being a little bit under fair market value, in my opinion. Masters of the Universe #1 at 19, Sheena 3D, the Blackthorn 3D special series book, whatever, $21 there, that great Dave Stevens book. And then the She-Hulk #6 at $3.50. I felt like the price itself was under FMV, but then if I bring in the actual total cost, you can see that now the numbers are maybe a bit more aligned to the cover price fair market value. But still, if I were to keep all of these books raw, including postage, I ended up adding $112.85 of value to my collection. And that Batman the Long Halloween #6, I think it's a little skewed at $53. It must just be because of the way that cover is put together or something. I think once I start putting in grades, that will drop. But Batman the Long Halloween, as I mentioned, the first issue, cover price fair market value around $44, so that's where I was targeting around $40 to $45 there in near mint. Now, I'll tackle these orders separately because one is a back issue order and one was a new release modern book. So if these are all 9.4 in quote-unquote near mint condition, you'll see that even in a CGC 9.4, $367 here. I'm a little bit concerned that maybe my math isn't right here on the CGC value. So if I put in a 9.6 there, it drops to 74, and let's see, 9.8. So there must be some sort of 9.4 outlier. So then this is probably a little bit more accurate. 9.8 at almost $200 for that book. Like I said, it's really tough. The book is glossy, so it's easily scratched. A lot of dings and dents on that all black cover. So I think $200 and a 9.8, $150 to $200, let's say, just to be fair. And that's where the bulk of the CGC value, potential value, is coming in. So I think just to kind of estimate the grades here without giving them official grades, if I maybe take the Long Halloween and flip it to 9, it still has decent value in a 9.0 high grade. But if you take a look at the Blackthorn 3D series #1, CGC 9.4 is $103. And the total cost with shipping is just a touch under $26. So that's in a really nice range to go ahead and submit to CGC and still be a very good pickup, even with that additional shipping charge. So this was the kind of math that I was doing beforehand. If this was a 9.8, obviously the value goes up, so it looks a bit better. But even in a 9.4, sight unseen, near mint being a range, couple of small defects, maybe is not a 9.8 candidate, there's still enough room here where I could potentially still get it graded and I'm still adding some value to my collection, precisely $53 after CGC fees and shipping all over the place and so forth. And that was the back issue order. The other order is the Cosmic Comics, I would say, new release, new books. Immortal X-Men's from 2023. Zatanna Bring Down the House is from 2024. And then Magic number 2 just came out about a month ago here. And you can see what I paid here, my total cost as it compares to cover price. And this is kind of the opposite. The shipping was more reasonable. I did have to pay tax, but I probably overpaid for each book as it turns out. Now, the cover price fair market value of Magic number 2 says $135. So my total cost was $147.10. But for me, I can't find it anywhere either. I can certainly go on eBay and buy a dinged up copy that's listed as near mint, but for a brand new book being sold by a reputable store, it was sold out. So I paid a little bit more, but I really wanted the book. So it's okay for me personally if I pay at fair market value or a little above to track down a book that is sold out everywhere. When I am on the hunt for a comic book and I see it sold out in so many places, then it's a good sign. Another thing I do is look at MCS when the new releases hit, and you can actually see the books that are selling out instantly. And those are the books that I'll use that data and go track and try and find somewhere else. With these books being particularly new, there should be some graded values here. Again, if I just plug in 9.4, probably not too much, especially on Magic number 2. Yeah, there's 0. So these I'd have to flip to 9.8 to show you what the CGC potential values are. And in a 9.8, these books are, well, nothing, I guess. The Zatanna Swabi Virgin variant, maybe there aren't any books sold. There's no data. Maybe nobody wants it. I don't know. $76 on Immortal X-Men number 15. I thought that was a good pickup at $28.84. Now, after it's all said and done, if CGC were to return the book, slabbed in a 9.8, $23 of value added there. If the Magic number 2 does grade out as a 9.8 candidate, I will send it in with a pre-screen. It's so brand new, it doesn't have any sales data. A lot of shipping, a lot of additional costs there that I have to factor in and apply to each book in these orders so that I can effectively track whether or not I want to continue to invest in these books. I would say overall, I'm very pleased with both of these sellers, both of these stores. I think I would look to ordering from them again in the future. I would certainly keep Cosmic Comics as a store that I might check out for those ratio variants that are newly released that sell out. I think that would be kind of a nice way, like I said, using the Shopify Shop app and trying to track some of those harder to find or books that are sold out, particularly those incentives. And of course, with Atomic Avenue, you are encouraged to contact the seller and request scans of certain books. So if you have a particular price point and something's a little bit expensive, or you just want to say, hey, I'm interested in these 5 or 6 books, could I get scans of each? My recommendation is to do that. I get a little worried, I get a little FOMO and feel like if I ask the seller about it, they might increase the price or wonder why I'm asking, or it might take a seller a couple of days to get back to me and someone could come in and snatch the book. Like I said, I factor in a lot of the risk and a lot of the potential, and it helps me make more informed decisions as I'm purchasing books. But thank you, both of these sellers, KZL on Atomic Avenue and Cosmic Comics, for getting these books safely and securely to me here in the United States. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Happy collecting, and see you next time.